I am Xian, and I have been modeling for almost 19 years. How about you?
I'm Rachel Mortenson, and I've been modeling for, probably, almost 15 years now. On and off. Mostly off in the beginning.
How long have you been at Guess?
I think we figured out the other day I've been here 9 years. You've been longer, though. You're like the only person that's been longer than me.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, I've like consistently been here for probably like 6 or 7 years. But before that, I'm gonna age myself. I graduated in 2007, and I was in Women's Wear Daily modeling Guess in 2007. Okay. So I have been here for 14 years, basically.
So basically, you started with Guess, and then got a little bit more mature, we'll say, and then came back and did more Marciano-based stuff, right?
Kind of. Yeah. I started with Guess. It was right when e-com started. So e-com hadn't been a thing yet. It was, the internet was so new. So new. And I was doing e-com not at the offices. We were shooting like in this photographer's studio in his garage in Fullerton.
Fancy.
And I was doing Guess, and then when I came back, I was doing Guess, and then I did G-Buy, and then I met Paul. And then Paul was like, "Why are you here doing G-Buy? You should be Marciano." And I was like, "Really? Okay." And then that's how I ended up at Marciano. That's where I've been.
Because that's how I met you. I was shooting Marciano for a few years, and then all of a sudden I started shooting Marciano with you. It felt like every week.
Yeah.
Like we were together a lot.
Yeah. For
a long time. And we're still here.
We're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Paul calls us sisters.
Sisters.
Yes.
Yeah. We look like it.
I think it's our...
I know, he always says, "and your sister," and I'm always thinking like, what? And then I'm like, oh, Xian, yes, Xian, yes.
It's our approach to life.
Yeah, well, I think we're both the similar personalities and what have you.
So how's your relationship with Paul? When did you meet him?
I met Paul. Paul initially found me on Instagram when I just started Instagram, and I think he had just started Instagram. He had like no followers, hardly any posts. So I thought it was kind of, I didn't think it was a real thing. I was like, why would the head of Guess only have a few followers? Like, this is kind of weird. So I was like, yeah, sure, you can call me. And then he did call. Well, also, Paul has a very strong French accent. Distinctive. And he called, and I had my daughter, and I had 3 of her friends in the backyard. I was like watching all my friends' kids, and it was absolute chaos. They were all probably like 3, 4. And he was like, "This is Paul." And I'm like, Who? I'm thinking, God, I was single at the time. I'm like, who did I give my number to? Like, but it was Paul. And then he asked me to, and I was already modeling, so I was back and forth in LA every week for work. And so on one of my work trips, I came in and met him, and we went through the archives, and it was so awesome. And he's been amazing since. Like, when I bought my first house, like, I immediately called Paul and asked for advice. When I moved in, he sent me welcome gifts. I've called him for boyfriend advice, several boyfriends' advice. I've called him for work advice, suggestions. I mean, he's definitely been like some sort of guiding figure in my life for sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the same for you.
Yeah, I mean, I met him, like I said, I was sitting in hair and makeup, and he came up behind me and was like, "Who are you? How have I not met you before?" And I'm like, oh my God, this is...
And that's exactly what he sounds like.
My brain was like, I can't compute. Like, is this real?
Yeah.
But then, like, every time I've ever met him, we always like had really great conversation, and he was always so interested in like, what do you do? What do you do outside of this? Right. Is there anything more than this? And then I was like struggling through a relationship, and like Paul was giving me advice on like marriage, and like when I was going through my divorce, Paul gave me advice on that. And then his kids became my friends, and like, his wife became my friend, and like it just kind of, you begin to feel like not an employee. You begin to feel like you have a real relationship, like a real friendship, there's someone that you can actually call. And like, he's given me so much opportunity, and he's allowed me to be myself, which I think
the rest of us wouldn't allow you that.
Well, yeah.
I remember one time I came in, and he ran into me. He's like, why are you so thin? And I've never had a client complain about me being too thin. And I was laughing. I was like, no. He's like, no, what's going on? Like,
are you okay?
And I was mid-shooting. We're all shooting. Everybody's trying to get your e-com count for the day. And he comes in and he brings me, I believe it was frozen yogurt. And he wanted to stop the shoot for me to eat frozen yogurt. Which I'm like, everybody, I'm sorry.
I have to. Yeah, I like the same too. I've always, when I started modeling, I was 13, and like I went to Paris and they were like, you need to lose weight, you're too big, your hips are too big, and my whole life has always been like, I'm
trying to fit into this. Yeah.
And you like, you know, it's the business, it is what it is, and you're told these things over and over and over again, and so like it just becomes like how you think about yourself. And then being here, Paul's always like, you're so skinny, you can gain more weight, are you hungry? I'm like, I'm always hungry. Yes.
How did you know?
I mean, we were in Barcelona once, and like I was having the worst day ever, and I was crying, I was like fighting with my boyfriend, and then Paul was like, she needs a cheeseburger. Somebody get her a cheeseburger. We have pictures of me and you sharing the cheeseburger together.
Like if I was dating someone and they said that when I was upset, I would probably be married by now.
Well, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Don't jump into things.
Oh, sorry.
Especially because of a burger. Okay. How do you, it was like, okay, 40-year anniversary is coming up. We were there together in Barcelona for the 35-year anniversary.
Oh God, was that oh yeah, you're right, yeah.
So now we're here.
Yeah.
And it's the 40-year anniversary.
Yeah.
And we're still here.
We're still here.
But we're here in this like crazy, amazing company that's like continued to stay around, continued to stay relevant, continued to inspire and like inspire girls like us and more girls and younger generations to keep this beautiful thing alive. Like, how do you feel about being here? I
mean, I definitely kind of see from an outside perspective why they have lasted 40 years, just from being here the amount of time I have.
Yeah.
Guess doesn't change, Paul doesn't change with the flow of trends and try to be something it's not, try to be another brand. You can see a Guess ad from 40 years ago and one from last week, and you might not know which was which.
Right.
It's been consistent. He had a vision. He stuck with his vision. They've been very true to who they are in a way that you don't see a lot of companies do. And I think people relate to it. Like I can see it, my daughter can see it, and we both know what it is right away. And I think people like that. Things change so much now, and the world's constantly like throwing new things at us, and to like know what something is and expect it, and it's timeless and it's beautiful, and people respect that.
Yeah, we're lucky.
No, I think we're really lucky. I mean, not only to have such a wonderful company to come work for and the people, but I'm a single mom. You're a young woman, you know, making it on your own. It's like to have a constant client who kind of embraces you and you can grow and change with and still work for is, I mean, I can't compare any other job I've had to that.
No, and I can't compare like the amount that everyone in this company believes in us and everyone else here. Like they have our backs. Like, you know, if you wanted to go do something, everyone would be like, amazing. Okay, how do we help you, Rachel? Right? It's like it's such a place where like you have a support system.
Well, if you think about it, name another brand with models who the model's just not a picture, it's a voice. Like there's always interviews. There's always interviews happening. There's always magazines with question and answers with the model. I don't know any other company who puts a voice to the person, to the photograph.
Yeah, they don't care. It's more so about like achieving their image and achieving like this one photo that they want. Where like, yeah, you're right. Here you have a voice. You get the opportunity to be who you are and like.
Because how does that work if you're just an image and eventually maybe no one wants to have your image published anymore and you weren't given a voice this whole time? Like, what does that kind of leave a person with?
Right.
Where you're left with something.
Yeah.
Happy 40th, guest!